Hi, welcome to Nourishing Body and Soul, the podcast. Get ready to revitalize your mind, body, and soul. We're here to inspire women who are looking to break free from old patterns and ideas to create a life of increased confidence and improved health. Say goodbye to limiting beliefs and hello to new possibilities. So kick back, get ready to have some fun, and let's dive in. We'll uncover tools and insights that can help you build a life that's truly nourishing, body and soul. Hi, I'm Tracy.
I'm Victoria.
And we're glad you're here with us at the podcast today. Today we're talking about something that just came up in a coaching session that we did recently.
Yes.
And so I'm going to let you
She's
kind
my
of
coach, by the way. I wasn't coaching her. Okay.
I'm going to let you kind of
Yes.
introduce why we're talking about this.
Well, one of the things in the previous podcast, we were talking about what our goals were and what was I trying to get out of a coaching session with her. And I started with I want to be skinny. And then we pulled back layers, layers, layers. And then it was really, actually, I want to be safe. That's what I want. I want to feel safe. So we got done. We were talking. It was great. And then she's like, okay, well, what metrics do you want to quantify that with? And I was like, what the heck are you even talking about? I get on the scale. That's it. Maybe what the doctor says, that's it. But you just told me not to focus on weight. And now you've told me to somehow come up with numbers for feelings. I don't get it. So that was that's what came up. And that was my reaction.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So we're talking about metrics.
Yes.
How do we measure things that
don't seem like they can be measured?
Yeah. What kind of, and why? Why do we even bother with that?
Yeah.
So let's start with that.
Yes. The why.
The metrics can be super helpful because they can get us through a lot of things. First of all, it's easy when we're trying to change something, when we're trying to progress in an area, to all of us will kind of go back to our old way of thinking. And when we hit a rough patch, then it's easy to go, I'm just not good at this. This is whatever. I'm not. And if we have a tracking system where we have a metric that we've decided and we've tracked it and we have record of that, we can, when we hit those spots, we can look back at those and go, oh, wait, now for the last 3 weeks, I've done really well in this area that I'm trying to change in. And so obviously this is just a rough patch. And I'm not going to throw all of that away for this mental moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they can be super helpful for that. And then also, just seeing our progress. I used to be able to only do this and now I can do this.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of real value mentally and motivationally and inspirationally for actually tracking what we're doing.
Yes.
But it can be hard to figure out what to track, how to track, because for me, for so much of my life, the tracking was it ended up being more obsessive checklist kind of stuff.
Yes.
And which leads to perfectionism and it leads to all or nothing thinking. It's the whole, very common to dieting. Well, I ate the ice cream, so I blew that. So everything is thrown out the window.
Yeah.
That kind of thinking. Or my goal was to exercise for an hour every day, and I only exercise for an hour 6 days this week. So I'm throwing that out the window.
Or 2 days. You just exercise for 2 days that week.
Yeah.
But 2 days.
Yeah. And so if you're tracking metrics, it can help you to go, you know what? Hold on a second. Why did I want to do 7 days?
Yeah.
My ultimate goal is to get stronger or to get more stamina or whatever. Did those 2 days help me get toward that goal? Well, actually, yeah, they did. And so
that was one of the things we decided, all my life, not all, but really since I was in high school, I would come up with these goals, which is lose whatever pounds, 20 pounds, whatever, not in high school, but still. And then I would say, okay, how do I lose 20 pounds? I eat this kind of food, and I exercise. And when I do my exercise, it would be okay, these are my exercise. These are aerobic days. These are leg days from lifting. And here are the exact, here are the number of squats that I need to do. Blah, blah, blah. Like, it was extensive.
Mhm.
So then I would look at it at the end when I was supposed to start, and I'd look and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't, it's too much. It's just too much. So we were talking about, I do want, it's healthy for me. It's healthy for, for a number of reasons for me to exercise or move,
Mhm.
have movement. Have movement. I don't know. Anyway, it's good for me. And so we talked about that, and she was like, okay, instead of doing quantifying like that, what if you have a 1 to 5 scale of how you are, if you do any movement, notice why you're doing it. Notice why you're thinking of it, am I thinking about this because I just want to do it, or it's going to make me perfect, or all of that, or am I doing this because I want my body to feel exercise and get stronger and be healthy? And that's what you measure.
Yeah,
So
in this case for her,
Mhm.
and for me too, when I going through over the last years, when I really started shifting my thinking in this
Mhm.
area, and when I did my certification as an eating psychology coach, that was one of the things I actually had to step back from exercise for a while, because the only reasons I was exercising, I noticed, yes, the good, yes, it's good for my mental health. I did notice that, but that wasn't the reason I was doing it. The reason I was doing it was either to lose weight, to lose inches, or to keep from gaining weight, or to keep from gaining inches.
Yes.
That
Yes,
was
I'm gonna
why
eat ice cream, but I'm only gonna eat ice cream if I can work out for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
You know.
And so I would, every now and then it's like, okay, I never completely stopped, but I would just, I had to like pull back to like simply walking for a while. And even then, like being careful where my mental state was when I was walking. And so it's something that instead of measuring how many squats did I do,
Mhm.
how much weight can I, and there is a place for that.
Yes.
There can be a place for that, but that can be a metric that can be a healthy one to have, depending on what your goal is, why you're doing it.
Mhm.
But in this case, the better metric for her at this time, and for me many times, would be, instead of how far did I walk, how much weight did I lift, whatever,
Mhm.
is not, it's the, okay, I moved on this day, and how was my mental state on that? Not just throughout the day, but about that workout. I went for a 5-mile walk, and I did it because I want to build up more stamina so that I can spend more time keeping up with my
Yeah.
grandkids.
Yeah.
Or
Or
so it's
this
like,
is how I felt when I was doing
right.
it.
And so it becomes more about the checking your mental state than checking your reps.
Yes. Yes.
So
So it was a different way to approach it too, because it forced me to try to step away, to step away from the perfect part of it. And and the how many reps did I do? How many squats did I do? Blah, 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 blah. It forced me to go, okay, how do I get into a healthy mental state?
Yeah.
And that is an exercise in itself. How do I get to a healthy mental state?
Yeah.
That was an exercise to practice myself.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
So knowing how to figure out what metrics
Mhm.
that can really support what it is we actually want.
Mhm.
And so in this case, the exercise is less about the building muscle than it is about the keeping the old diet and beauty culture thoughts in check.
Mhm.
And being able to still have all the healthy benefits of exercise,
Yeah.
all the healthy benefits of eating well,
Mhm.
without reverting to old thinking that is not healthy and it's not good for us.
Yeah.
So figuring out what to measure. Now when you talk about metrics, it's very easy to go into the area of eating and exercise, because those are things that are so common.
Yeah, and
It's
it's
like-
easy to measure. You step on
Yeah.
the scale. There
Right.
you go. You
Right,
put a tape measure around your waist. There you go.
right.
Mhm.
And it's easy because of diet culture to equate that with health. It's like,
Yeah.
well, weight is not as connected to health as we have been taught. It's not the best indicator. There are lots of people who are had at a healthy BMI who are not sleeping well and they are not eating well and other really healthy habits, things, or they have the weight is where it's supposed to be,
Yeah.
but they have high blood pressure or low blood sugar, or there are lots of other things. They're not healthy, but they're the right size,
Yes.
quote unquote. And so then what do you check? What do you measure? What are your metrics that you use if actually health is your goal? But this applies to not just in this area, obviously. Anywhere that we want to progress, we can find metrics to support that, to be able to track our what we actually want to be accomplishing and not just the check.
And sometimes that's journaling.
Yeah.
Like, here are my metrics. I'm going to journal how I feel. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not, but
yeah, using my journal more often. And so, and that when we're using metrics that actually get to the heart of what we want, it's a lot easier to avoid that all or nothing thinking and that perfectionism. Because in this case, when we're talking about the metric of looking at how is your mental state toward your workout, then it's observational. We talk often about putting on the lab coat, getting on your detective attitude, and we're just looking for information. It's like, okay, so it's not all or nothing. It's not, you're going to have a mental state every single time you do or don't exercise. So that's there.
No, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to meditate so far that my mental state is gone. And I am just at one with
still
the
a mental state.
That's another goal.
So it can facilitate, if we're really setting things that are getting to the heart of the matter, it really can help get rid of that perfectionist, get rid of that all or nothing thinking, and just go, okay, well, that's progress toward this, or it can just carry us through and help us keep progressing instead of, well, I didn't do the plan and now I'm a failure, So
yeah, good stuff. I learned a lot by doing that.
Yeah. So find metrics that work really well for you. And if you can't think of any, that's okay. Find a friend who thinks differently than you do.
Yeah, your analytical engineering friend. Yeah, go find them.
Yeah, ask them to help you and give it a try.
Yeah.
Tracking your progress that can help you to get toward where you actually want to be, and
tracking your progress in a healthy way.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes. So that is another way to nourish your body and your soul. Yep. Hey, if you want to help us grow this podcast that we're having fun doing, like and subscribe.
And comment.
Oh, yes.
Please comment. We will comment back.
Yes, we will. Hey, it's Tracy. If this was helpful and you'd like more, follow me on Instagram at tlastel.nourishingbodyansoul, or on Facebook or YouTube at Nourishing Body and Soul, or you can find my website at nourishingbodysoul.com. Thanks for tuning in to Nourishing Body and Soul, the podcast. Before we wrap up, we just want to remind you that the information we share in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not intended for medical advice. While we hope you find our discussions helpful, we strongly recommend that you seek the advice of a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your diet, exercise routine, or any other aspect of your health. We also want to make it clear that the host, guests, and producers of this podcast are not responsible for any adverse effects or consequences that may result from the use of any information or suggestion discussed in this podcast. We care about your well-being, but we can't take responsibility for individual outcomes. By listening to this podcast, you agree to indemnify and hold harmless the hosts, guests, and producers of this podcast from and against any and all claims, damages, liabilities, costs, and expenses arising from your use of the information provided in this podcast. We're so grateful for your support, and we hope you keep listening and learning with us. Thanks.